What's up, guys? Farooqi Bros here, back with another Built Different stream. And today we got a bunch of topics ranging from DC to Marvel, so we're happy that you guys are joining us today. But let's get right into it, because I think, in my opinion, the biggest news of the week starts with the Superman movie reboot that is currently in development at Warner Brothers. So this news came actually, surprisingly, not from a trade, but from a publication called Shadow and Act, right? And they put out the story that Ta-Nehisi is writing the new Superman movie, and they got a direct quote from the writer saying that he's excited to add to the Superman mythology and to bring something new to the table with Superman. So obviously that made people very excited. There's a lot of other little small pieces of information that we're going to get into, but we're going to be talking about all of it. So we're going to be talking about the writer, the producer. Currently, there is no director on the project. There's currently no Superman actor also attached to the project. So it's pretty early. I would say that we're at least 3 to 4 years away from this movie actually coming out. So there's gonna be a lot to go on, and I think when I look back at what's the closest situation to compare this to, I would compare it to when Matt Reeves took over on the Batman, right? And there was a lot of will he, won't we for Ben Affleck, and is he going to be part of it? Honestly, everyone had to lie at this point. Ben Affleck was saying he was part of it. Matt Reeves was saying it's part of it. In reality, Matt Reeves was always going in his own direction with that movie, right? So I think this will be something similar, which is maybe bad news for the Henry Cavill fandom, but that doesn't mean necessarily over from either. So we're going to get into all of that. But first, let's get into the raw details, right? So the first one is that J.J. Abrams' Bad Robot, his company Bad Robot, is producing the Superman film. He right now only 2 producers were actually listed, so you're not going to see any of your regular Warner Bros. Producers as of yet. So J.J. Abrams. This is actually the reason I want to start with J.J. is because he signed a $500 million deal with WarnerMedia last year. And when you do something like that, clearly DC Comics was on the docket. And we've talked about it multiple times in the podcast that Warner Brothers actively wanted J.J. Abrams to direct the new Superman movie. Like they were seeking it out since at least for 2-3 years. They wanted him to do it, right? Now he's producing it. He's not directing it, but he's producing it. And that doesn't mean he might not become a director later on, but as of right now, he does not want to fill the shoes of director. Maybe that's a sign of it being more a pretty hard role. He doesn't want the pressure of taking a role like Superman. But we'll see how it goes. I'm going to hear your opinions as well. And feel free in the chat, if you guys are listening in, to also give your opinions on where you stand on that. And then the writer of the film, is probably the biggest news, is that Ta-Nehisi is writing Superman, right? And if you guys are familiar with his work, he's written Black Panther, which was an award-winning comics series. He's been writing since 2018 Captain America, but he's mostly known as a nonfiction author. And he's done multiple books that have received awards, bestsellers, in New York Times bestsellers. So he's a pretty big-time writer. And before that, he was a journalist. So he made the role from journalist to writer, and now he's writing the next Superman film. So it's pretty cool. And I'm happy for him, particularly just getting this role and putting it together. But that still leaves the question of what are they doing with the Superman movie? What's the direction that a Superman movie can go? And what comes next? Because THR and Variety, they added into the original Shadow and Act report, and they said that Warner Brothers has been actively trying to put a black Superman on screen. But they didn't say that's what the Superman's going to be, but they said this should be noted that Warner Bros. Is actively been trying to do that. So does that mean that this project is going to be that like Superman of color, or is this going to be a Superman reboot, or is this going to be a continuation of Henry Cavill? All of that are the pressing questions. We're going to get the Farooqi Bros to get on, give their opinions on that. So I'll start with Zion on this one. When you heard that the Superman reboot is coming, what were your first reactions? And then with these 2 additions, these 2 talents, how do you feel about it?
It's so soon following after Supergirl news. I thought it was pretty surprising that after so much radio silence on what's going on with Superman, they announced that, all right, James, not James, what's the guy's name? What's the director's name again?
Director who?
The guy, the Super 8 guy, the Star Wars guy.
From what movie? J.J. Abrams?
Yeah, J.J. Abrams, there you go. I blanked on that. J.J. Abrams, yeah. So, I mean, there's been rumors about him since he joined Warner Bros. That J.J. Abrams is going to be involved with Superman in some way or another. We've talked about in past podcasts that will it mean a reboot of Superman? And now it seems so with the direction they're going. They want to have a black Superman. And that brings up its own series of questions, whether it's, are they doing Kal-El Clark Kent again? or are they doing Val Zod? What direction are they going with this character? And of course, then the question of Henry Cavill comes into play. Does that mean he's officially done as Superman? His agent today threw out a little like hint saying, "Oh, never say never." They have an NDA or whatever. So that's pretty interesting to see. So we don't know what's going on with that end, but just at face value, I think it's great that they're finally giving us some news on Superman and some direction to where he's going to go in this wider range of DC films.
I mean, Umar, where do you kind of stand on this? Because also, we've people who've been, DCU faithful fans since 2018, 2013. What am I saying? 2013. I put 13 and 18 together, but since 2013, you've had obviously Henry Cavill, and there's been a lot of he's been in the fridge, let's say, for the last several years. I mean, I don't even count Zack Snyder's Justice League as a new project. I mean, he shot that in 2016. He shot the reshoot scenes of 2017's Justice League before he shot anything he has in the Snyder Cut, right? So hasn't put on the costume in 4 years now. And when you hear something like this, did your immediate reaction be, oh, this is the next Henry Cavill movie? Or were you thinking this is the confirmation that it's over?
Just the confirmation that it's over. I think that it would be, I honestly think that he has an idea for what he wants to do with Superman, but the problem comes is that when you do look at, from a performance standpoint, people did not, like his Superman is not like beloved like maybe Christopher Reeves before him, right? So he's playing with a kind of a different crowd. So I initially, when it was announced, I was like, yeah, it's over. And then couple that with the idea of Warner Brothers wanting to go with the Black Superman, and then also with Ray Fisher's tweet that came later on. Those two things kind of confirmed, obviously, that they're going a separate way. And then, obviously, speaking to being faithful DCU fans, I mean, yeah, we were and we are. At the same time, I think that most of, the four of us are open to the kind of the new ideas, like the Matt Reeves, the Batman. We're excited for that project. And just like that, I mean, I think when we get closer and closer, there'll be much more excitement for this project as well. I don't think Henry Cavill will be forgotten, but at the same time, I think they could do something kind of pretty solid going another way, and that's okay. And I think we're gonna get into it more, but this is not the end for Henry Cavill. There's other things that could happen, and we might get both Supermans. And as DC fans, ultimately, it would be our dream to actually get a Henry Cavill solo or more Snyder verse, but then also get maybe a Black Superman, and then we're gonna get the Matt Reeves Batman. So the more material you get as a fan, I mean, I don't know why you would have an issue with that. Personally speaking, for me, that's kind of my take on it.
Yeah, it's interesting because, like you mentioned, the truth of the matter is, as of right now, there is literally zero chance Henry Cavill's getting a solo Superman movie. That's not happening, right? But that doesn't mean he's out of the role. That doesn't mean he's he's retiring the cape per se. But I think his future is very much going to be reliant on Justice League, and if Justice League doesn't happen, it's going to be cameos for the foreseeable future.
So before Samir goes, I also wanted to add that even if he did retire the cape, I mean, Ben Affleck literally retired the cape on Jimmy Kimmel, and he's gonna be in the Flash. So it's really never say never in this industry. You just don't know. But
yeah, Michael Keaton's been retired for 30 years as Batman, and he's back too. So it's there is no as long as the actor is alive and he's still acting, you're not coming back as the character. So I think, but as a solo movie, I don't see it in the foreseeable future. That's the thing. I don't see it happening anytime soon.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah, and it's so. But that doesn't mean that, like you said, the next movie is going to be bad, because look, we all felt it when Ben Affleck retired and then Matt Reeves moved on. Within a couple of months, you got Robert Pattinson, and you saw most of the fans started embracing the next generation of Batman, right? And for Superman, I think the same thing is required, though Superman fans tend to be a little more I don't know. They're a little different than your Spider-Man fans or Batman fans who are always moving on from iteration to iteration. I mean, people love Tobey, then they loved Andrew, now they love Tom Holland. It's not like you're sticking to one thing and staying there forever. But it is what it is. Superman fans are a little picky and choosy with their characters. But, when it comes to having a Black Superman or even adapting someone like Val Zod, let's be honest, from the four of us, Samir's been on that ship way longer than us. I mean, since like 2018, I think, Samir, you've been telling us that, listen, they should be going this direction. Like if Henry Cavill's not coming back, go this direction. So now that you hear that as a potential that they actually are doing this, how did you feel about the announcement?
I'm excited to see what they go with. I think Val Zod would be a great way to go. I don't think Henry Cavill would be completely done. I think he'll be done in the way that he won't be the main face of DC, which we were already skeptical about when they first announced Supergirl. So I think the way they could use Henry Cavill is the same way they're using Ben Affleck and the other Michael Keaton. There we go.
Yeah. I mean,
that's how
I see it too. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think it opens up a lot of opportunities for the future. I think if like Henry Cavill, Val Zod and Supergirl meet in like one, imagine they're in one movie, that would be insane. That'd be like I don't know.
Like Spider-Man 3, what they're doing.
Yeah,
to Spider-Man meeting. Yeah. It's actually, that's the best point you made. I mean, when you're doing the multiverse concept, I mean, if you do, let's say 5 years from now, Crisis on Infinite Earths actual movie for the DCEU, you can see them pulling together all these different iterations. But at the end of the day, it's like, how much does Henry Cavill even want to be back in the suit when he keeps taking on new projects? So he's going to be The Witcher for the foreseeable future because there is a ton of material for The Witcher that he's good for 10 years in that show. Then you have Mass Effect, which people are saying that he might be a part of as well. So if he's taking on Mass Effect and The Witcher, two long form series, Superman for him is going to be showing up in Shazam 2, showing up in Flashpoint for a couple of minutes, and that's going to be the scope of Henry Cavill's role as Superman, which is unfortunate. Or of course, if Justice League 2 happens, it's also open from there. But the idea of him getting that solo movie, I mean, we got to remember that Christopher McQuarrie, right after Mission Impossible, which was Henry Cavill back at the top again after that movie. People loved him as playing the villain in that movie. Christopher McQuarrie was on the top as a director for the few months. They went to Warner Brothers at that time and said, "Here's our Superman movie. Let me direct it. Henry Cavill with me, and let's make it happen." They said no to him. They said no. So, and there was no Superman movie coming out. They just said no, right? So that gives you an insight that what is the studio thinking about Superman? They're thinking that they don't want to do anything with Henry Cavill right now. Or, like we heard afterwards with Shazam, Henry Cavill was supposed to show up in Shazam, and then last second, the talks fell through. The deal fell through because Henry Cavill was dead set on getting a solo and him choosing the director. So all those things combined made it hard for Cavill to kind of come back into the fold until now, which is like now Warner Bros. Thinking of moving on. And you got J.J. Abrams. And does J.J. want to continue the Zack Snyder universe, or does he want to start his own thing? I mean, we all saw with Matt Reeves how fast that changed from Ben Affleck to Robert Pattinson. That's one of those things that I feel like is worth thinking about as we go forward. But let's take a look at the comments before we jump back into the topics, right? So Nathan jumped in. He said that I mentioned a few weeks ago, I love Cavill's Superman, but under Zack's direction. So I don't hate the project, but I still have to care about it. I mean, I think this is a better viewpoint to have if you're someone who's very much a Zack Snyder fan, that you're going to wait to see what happens. And a lot of people, when they heard Pattinson was casted, they actually went down for it. Then when that first trailer dropped, people were down for it, So I think once you see what a movie looks like, it really gets way better, right? And we got another comment saying, is it true that Michael B. Jordan is going to be the new Superman, right? So
that's gold. I think that's gold.
You think it's a good casting, right?
Try to get him. Yeah, try to get him.
Yeah, and it's funny because Michael B. Jordan did talk with Warner Brothers in 2019 about doing a Superman movie, right? And he actually asked specifically that he wanted to do a Val Zod movie. He didn't ask that I want to play Clark Kent. He said, I'll play Val Zod, right? I'll play a different Superman, but I want to be the Black Superman. I think he also wanted to produce it or something like that, and the talks fell through, and now he actually signed a complete separate deal with Amazon, so he's not going to be back in a producing role. But that doesn't mean he can't potentially act as Superman for a movie, and a lot of people are down for it. I mean, you see all types of art and things like that. I think I have one here somewhere. Do I have it? Yeah, so it's like people put art of like how Michael B. Jordan will look like as Superman, and they'll do their renditions of the character. I think he's definitely a good actor, and he's in shape, so he has the body for a Superman. So it's just about are the deals going to work? Are they going to be able to afford someone like him? Not afford, but you gotta throw the book at him, because he's at the top of the game right now in Hollywood. So usually for Superman, go ahead.
I think if you're gonna work up to what Samir said, which I think is by the way, is a great point that you made. I think if you're gonna work towards that, it would be cool to get someone like Michael B. Jordan, because he could actually be just like the way he is, like you're not really gonna have to, like, he's one of those actors that can really carry a whole film, let alone, like, I would have loved to see, like, even in Black Panther, like, if Black Panther didn't end the way it did, I would have loved to see, like, a solo of his own thing. Like, that's how good the actor is. Like, he would have carried something. He probably would have done amazing with that. So I think he would be an amazing person to put in that place, for an event film too. Like, that'd be cool.
Yeah. And it's interesting. Now we talk about like the potential of a Black Superman, because last week we were talking about how there's a Latina Supergirl, and now we've completely kind of moved into now there's a Black Superman. So there's obviously things are changing, and there's a lot of potential for new storylines, more unique storylines, and something fresh for the audience, because now we've had what, 4, 6, 7, we had like 8 Superman movies, right? And in one way or another, whether he's cameoing or he's a solo. So we've got a lot of Superman, and to get something brand new could be pretty interesting. So, I mean, Nathan brought up that he'd rather see, he thinks Michael B. Jordan might play Icon or in the Static movie or something like that. It's possible also because, remember, they are working on a Static Shock movie. So I think some people don't really remember that. And as far as Henry Cavill, Fatma makes a good point when she says that his agent always says this, and what she's referring to is that today Danny Garcia put out an Instagram story, I think, where she said, "Oh, I can't talk about anything, but things are happening," and people take that as Henry Cavill. But there's a good point here, because she does this all the time. Like, there's always, every few months, you're going to be seeing a post that says the cape is still in his closet. Remember that, Umar? The cape is still in his closet. He hasn't worn the cape since then. So it's been in the closet for a long time. You got to send it to the cleaners.
It didn't do much. I think this comment makes a lot of sense for this character right now, is that people are just tired. People are tired of hearing that, oh, he'll come back, or he'll be in this, or he'll be in a cameo. Like, they really haven't done well. Like, Henry Cavill, even if he's not like the highest ranked actor or something, you got to admit the guy has the look, and he was a pretty good like, they could have done so much better than what they did. It's kind of sad for Superman fans. I know Shraz probably cries at night. Think about this.
Actually, I don't cry, but I'm like, yeah, like, I'm actually in the realm that Rhymeslim is in. Our boy Rhymeslim, the GOAT. He said, I don't care anymore. I'm so confused and bored. Just do whatever now. I'll only believe him when he actually returns our cameo or confirms it, because even Henry Cavill, he hasn't put anything about Superman other than a few press notes, and then either he put that one clip of him holding the Superman toy. That was in 2018. It's 2021 now. So and again, I know we're seeing him in Justice League, but that's not what Johnny Garcia or Henry Cavill or any people want. I mean, because that's already been taped. They want him to show up again, right? And that again is going to be much harder than I think people fully grasp. So it's gonna be interesting to see like what they're trying to do with this Superman, what's gonna come next. But like Nathan said, never said never, which is from both from Samir's favorite singer, Justin Bieber, right?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm just playing. But Michael B. Jordan, I mean, Rhymeston makes another point saying that as Calvin Ellis or Valzada, we have a couple of honking horns, but both these options are really good. And I think Calvin Harris, Valzada. Let me pull up a picture of Valzada. I have seen something here. All right, here we go. So first of all, Samir, I mean, do you want to talk about his costume? Because you are
I love this suit. This suit is so good. Okay.
I agree. Like, I love like the light blue, silver,
it's such a nice
white cape. Honestly, white cape. Let's be honest. I've always been a fan of the white cape, and before I actually was down if in Justice League Superman had a white cape behind the black. I think that accent would be really cool. But I love that concept of just a white cape. Like, there's something very pure about that. You don't like it? I like the white cape.
I like the white cape. I think for the new Superman, I think I'd be down for it. I don't like the light blue. I don't know how that would look in live action. I think it would look super weird. I think contrast it a little bit, like make it darker.
I don't know. I like the white symbol. Yeah, I like the white freaking the white S, and then that balancing with the white cape, I think that's gonna look pretty good to me. I don't know, but let's see. Are the comments saying anything about that? I mean, Drew jumped in and said, it seems pretty evident that Cavill won't be back in a large way unless Justice League 2. I mean, that's actually the truth of the matter. Like, you're gonna see him for 5 minutes in Shazam 2, or if you're gonna see him in 2 minutes in Flashpoint or The Flash, you're not going to see him in a solo anymore, right? So if you want to see the most Henry Cavill, it's your only option. The only road is Justice League getting a sequel. Otherwise, it's probably not going to happen. What do you think, Omar? No chance other than Justice League?
Yeah, it would be super whack if it wasn't. Yeah, like I'm not for. I don't think he can come back for the foreseeable future, at least if it's not in a Justice League 2. So yeah, I mean, and again, like with Justice League 2, there's so many other strings attached, and the cards are kind of. I mean, Zack Snyder was at FanFest the other day, and he said on IGN, and he said that, like it looks like it's not gonna happen. He said that like multiple times. They kept asking him about Justice League 2, and he said like, it doesn't look like it's gonna happen, but never say never type thing. And obviously, like, let's not even front. Like, if Zack Snyder's Justice League does well, there's a chance, but let's see what happens.
Yeah, and we have a comment saying that it's a shame that Warner Bros. Didn't make the most of Henry Cavill. He could have easily made a trilogy. And if you think about it, a lot of it was wasted years. Like 2016, let's say 2017, right? You finished Joss Whedon's Justice League. Even if the studio liked that version of the movie, why didn't you do anything for 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, right? You didn't do anything. So it's like, I don't know. I think they didn't want to. They sat on it, which is, let's be honest, if you want to talk history and put it together full circle, that's word for word what they did with Brandon Routh. In 2006, Brandon Routh signed a 3-movie contract for Superman. He signed a 3-movie contract, 1 for Superman Returns and 2 sequels. And after Superman Returns flopped, the studio actually didn't want to use him anymore, but since he was still contracted, they literally waited out till his contract expired. So they literally sat down from 2006 to 2013, and they did nothing with Superman, just so they don't have to use Brandon Routh again, right? I feel like they did something similar with Cavill, because Cavill's contract did not end with 2017's Justice League. He had 2 more movies on his 1 to 2 more movies left on his contract, and they just sat on it, like they didn't even want to use it, you know. And I guess they tried to use it in Shazam, and then Cavill himself backed out, and you could say that made them so angry that when he backed out, that he's like, you know what, forget it, we're not working with you anymore, you know. So that's it.
They yanked it.
Yeah, that's quite literally, you know, because he disrespected them in a way. Like they did feel very disrespected that he didn't show up in Shazam. You know, like, do you think they wanted the headless cameo? Like, that wasn't the studio decision. They wanted Cavill, but it didn't work out, right? So it's like, it's something to remember when you're putting it together. I mean, Drew jumped in with another comment saying that my ideal scenario is that the J.J. Abrams Val Zod movie is in its own pocket universe, like Matt Reeves' Batman, and then Cavill can finish his arc with Zack. And again, this is, I think, what you call best case scenario, right? Like, I think Umar started out like if they do something like connected. Or is that you, Umar, said connected with Matt Reeves? Or no one said this yet? It was our private chat.
No, I
like in the universe, like, do you?
I mentioned.
And we can, yeah. So I think connecting it. I mean, Zion, you can take this one. I mean, when the Val Zod movie, or assuming right now it's Val Zod, Black Superman, right? Do you want to stand completely alone? Apart from everything, or do you think this is a good chance to connect with Matt Reeves' Batman? Because you've been pretty adamant when you say that you want Matt Reeves' Batman to be completely solo. Like, you don't want his Batman to be with any other superheroes, but here's an opportunity to put him with the brand new Superman. So where do you stand on that?
Well, my stance has not changed. I think Matt Reeves' Batman, his trilogy should be completely separate. Let him do his run unhindered, not being connected to anything else. Even though, yeah, like you said, this is an opportunity to have this brand new Superman and then connect him to this other universe that's going on with Matt Reeves. But I think that just you're following the same steps to the mistakes that they've barely fixed it so far in the current DCEU universe. So why are you going to start a whole new universe or something on the side? I think have Val Zod. I don't know if it's going to be just a standalone film or like the Black Superman. I don't know which character it is, but if it's going to be a standalone film or they're going to branch out to a trilogy or something else, that we don't know yet. So I think best bet is just keep it separate. I don't think mixing them is the right thing to do for either side of the storytellers.
Samir, where do you stand on this one? Like, if you had a choice, if you wanted to mix the universes with what Matt Reeves is working on, or do you think that let JJ do his own thing and let Matt Reeves do his own thing?
I think if it isn't connected to the main DCEU universe, I think they should have it alone on its own instead of connected to Matt Reeves. Just like they had Joker on its own in a whole separate thing. I think that would be the way to go, honestly.
Umar, do you think your opinion changed after hearing what Zion and Samir said?
I mean, what do you think my opinion was before?
I thought your opinion was that you wanted to connect with Matt Reeves' Batman. I thought your opinion was you wanted it to connect to Matt Reeves' Batman. Like you wanted to build.
I think
that could be an opportunity for another universe.
The thing is, initially, right, when they first announced this whole thing, like, the thing is, like, Batman says in Batman v Superman that 20 years in Gotham, we had a conversation about how you could have easily done the same movie that they're doing right now. Like, the movie they're doing right now, right? Literally, you can connect it. The only differences are who's playing the characters, and Jim Gordon happens to be black. Like, those are the differences. So I thought, like, oh, you could literally continue and do the same thing. It's not a big deal. But at the same time, I do think as time has moved on and there's the multiverse concept is now something they're looking at. I'm more excited about that than I am with them trying to fit everything in one way. Like, I'm more excited about the multiverse aspect, so I'm all for having everyone do their own thing. And then you never know, maybe in like 10 years where they have this multiverse established, those different universes, they collide and you can use Flash. I know that Ezra Miller's talked about how the Flash is, like, for him at least, like, he always wanted to make the Flash that the connection and weave him through all the different multiverses. That's something he always wanted. I think that's something that they should go with, because that's one way you could actually connect everything and it's still one big multiverse.
Yeah,
it'd be cool.
And Drew brings up a good point. Go ahead, Samir.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, this Flash movie is really what decides the future for the DCEU. Considering that they threw Henry Cavill into Shazam, so who knows how it's going to connect with the next Shazams or Black Adam. This Flash movie is going to decide.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Flash, there's a lot riding on Flash and how they kind of reset the universe in many ways. But Drew makes up another point, which I think is worth kind of shedding light on. He said Reeves went out of his way to secure his own world, right? I don't know if he's cool with the idea of jumping into a shared universe, and I agree with that because remember, Matt Reeves signed on to direct the Batman movie, and then he left himself. He said, I'm letting go of the Batman, I'm walking out. He walked out of the movie, and the new report came. Matt Reeves walks out of the Batman. And then 1 week later, Matt Reeves is back. And I always wondered, and we talked about this actually in our podcast back then, I think it was late 2018 maybe when he was first got brought in. And we talked about it on the podcast, and we were like, why did he leave for 1 week and come back? Was it that he just didn't want to work with Ben Affleck? Was it that he wanted to be in his own universe? I think it was the latter. I think he wanted to be in his own universe. I think he didn't want to be tethered to anything. He wanted to make his own little world like Christopher Nolan did. That's what he brought up. He said, I want to do it like Christopher Nolan did it. He got a 3-movie trilogy on. I'm trying to do that too. And he had all the vantage. I mean, not vantage. He had all the leverage because he was coming off the Planet of the Apes trilogy, which was like a masterpiece. So you're coming off an extremely good trilogy, and now you finally are in the room for Batman. You could tell the studio, hey, if you want me, I want my own universe. Like, I'm not putting it into anything else. So I would agree with that concept that we're probably not going to see this Batman work with others, but you never know because, like Samir said, the Flashpoint concept opens up a lot of things. I mean, Rhyme Slim jumped in the comments also, and he said, keep it separate so JJ and Coates can just go all out and do whatever they want. And I think all four of us probably agree with that. I mean, at the minimum, we want some kind of director freedom, and see different things. So, do we think we covered everything on the Superman aspect, or do you want to look at it more? I mean, we got a comment from Multiverse Monitor saying that I don't see how Zack Snyder's Justice League wouldn't get a sequel. The has a huge following, and I'm sure it'll be a success, hoping to get a sequel afterwards. So, I'm not 100% like optimistic. Umar, you're good? Or you just got stuck for a second? But yeah, I was saying that I'm not 100% sure if it's prime ready for a sequel, meaning are they going to be announcing the studio? All the cards are against Zack right now. But I think if on the 18th people show up, that's the only way. But I think right now they're not running over to give him a sequel.
It's not just the problem. It's not just show up. They gotta like outperform. They gotta show that there's like a lot of financial gain, like in this. They gotta show that this is something that the general masses want, and I actually feel like that's tough.
It's more than that though. It's more than that though, because it's not just how well it's performed. It's can they get all these actors and characters back together on contract for another film? People like Ben Affleck, I know they're there for Flashpoint, but really be ready and willing to get into extreme shape and work out and be Batman again for a full-length film. Who knows how long Justice League 2 would be? It would probably be the same length, if not around the same length at least. So would they be able to get all of them together I think that's the bigger hindrance that they'd have to face if this film performs as well as Wonder Woman 1984. And you can say to Warner Bros. That, oh, you greenlit Wonder Woman 3 because of these numbers. Why not Justice League? Well, those are hurdles you got to cross. Can you get all these actors back? We don't know what Ray Fisher's situation is. Will they get Ezra on for Justice League as well? Aquaman, Gal Gadot, Wonder Woman. We don't know how that's going to work out either. So those are things you got to consider when thinking about, can there be another Justice League with Zack Snyder?
Yep, I think a lot of people are resonating with John said. I mean, the contract is a whole nother ball game of getting people together, getting them to say yes. I mean, some of course will say yes for Zack, but getting the whole crew together, it's a $300 million production. So, and then to our last point about the universes, I mean, so many people in the comments are just saying you have to keep it separate. Like, do not connect it with anything. I mean, Rhymeslim just made a great point saying, wait, it's pulling up right now. Yeah, here you go. He probably saw that W was so lost and wanted to try his own universe. Like, he didn't want to fix the mess that Warner Bros. Was currently making. And think about it. When he was negotiating with them, they were coming off of 2017 Justice League. Like, that's when the negotiations were happening. So,
also, I think it's important to note that also Ben Affleck wanted to do his own thing as well. Like, so it's not like, it's not like Matt Reeves just came in and is like, oh, I want to do my own thing. And that's it. I'm sure that they had conversations about using Ben Affleck, but the issue also came is that Ben Affleck had a script that he wanted to go with, and they just didn't work out. Like, it just didn't work out on multiple levels.
Yeah, I agree with that. And so, another comment asking us directly that why do you want to reboot Superman? Henry Cavill is the best Superman. I mean, this is a people were, when the news broke, I think a lot of people were a mix of frustrated because if they were going to use Henry Cavill, they would have said it in that press release. Like, there was no reason if you had Henry Cavill to say, well, here he is, he's back. But they purposely didn't. And I think that's like the telltale sign it's not happening, right? He's not going to be, he's especially not going to be in that J.J. Abrams movie. If he's going to be in, like we said, I think we said a few times on this podcast now, but on the stream rather. But if he's going to be in something, it's going to be Shazam 2. That's the most likely. And maybe a 2-minute scene in Flashpoint, like very short. It's not going to be something substantial, unfortunately. So I think we've seen it. I think Henry Cavill was the Superman who only showed up once, and now one solo, and that was Man of Steel. And then he showed up for BVS, Justice League, and then Zack Snyder Justice League. It was a sequel. Good for him. I personally, sadly, doubt we're seeing him anymore as Superman. I mean, it is what it is. I like him as Cavill. I like Cavill as Superman. So it's like I'm saying that with like, I'm saying with a heavy heart. Like I would like him to come back, but I also see the reality, the writing on the wall. Like it's not happening. But it is what it is, right? So, any last points, or do you want to move on from out of the DC universe into the Marvel universe? All right. So let me look at the comments one last time. Yeah. Samir, you have something to say? Samir, do you have something in your back pocket?
Yeah, I have one more point.
All right, make the point.
Yeah, I think the worst case scenario, like the worst thing they could do, I think the worst thing they could do for this reboot is if they reboot Superman in the Clark Kent story. I think it's been done so many times, and this would be a terrible time to reboot that story. I think if moving forward, if they want to switch Supermans, they should just go with a different Superman.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting idea. I think that's probably one of the better points. Yeah, because I think there's no point doing Clark again. I mean, we just saw another Clark Kent reboot kind of with Superman and Lois on the CW. I mean, how many times are we going to keep seeing that? I think if there's another Superman movie with Clark Kent, right, it's not going to be like, oh, the ship exploded, planet exploded, ship comes to Earth. I think it's going to be like Batman, where we're not going to be seeing, at least I think we're not going to be seeing Martha and the Waynes die again. I mean, we might actually, but like, I don't know if Matt Reeves is going to be doing the story again. I think he's going to just start it as Batman's here now.
I think that's so iconic that even if he did it, it'd be kind of cool.
Think about it. Did the MCU, like when they're doing Spider-Man, they were like, oh, we've shown Uncle Ben die 3 times and now we're not going to show it anymore. And some people didn't like that, They didn't like that.
No, Spider-Man, that's bad because they're not even acknowledging Uncle Ben's existence, which is bad enough. I think that like there's a level to it, I guess. Not showing the scene of the Waynes being killed, like, okay, that's fine, but I mean, him not even acknowledging or mentioning their death, like, I wouldn't mind it starting like in Master of the Phantasm, which is obviously regarded as one of the best Batman films. It wasn't the day they died, but he was like standing at their graves, like talking to them. I feel like something like that would work well in Matt Reeves' Batman, where it shows that, all right, he remembers them, that connection is still there, but you're not showing the exact same death scene over and over. And that's the one thing Tom Holland Spider-Man films are missing. There's absolutely no call back to Uncle Ben or anything. If anything, the one line they had was about the suitcase. We're like, oh, I got blown up. I don't know if that was the actual scene or deleted scene, but like, oh, who cares? They moved on. They're not the same. What Spider-Man is doing, what I think Matt Reeves' Batman will do.
It's funny because I'm just making one point. But it's funny because the Spider-Man scene, they made a whole point where it's like the suitcase closes and it says, like Benjamin Parker or whatever, right, on the suitcase, like his initials, and in the end, like it literally blows up, and then Aunt May's like, "Oh, is there anything good in there? No, it's okay, forget it." It's like, dude, it's the freaking suitcase. But yeah, so I know that we can, if we want to actually talk about Far From Home and kind of just whatever, roast it for 2 hours, we could. But there is Spider-Man on the news, and that's going to be MCU Spider-Man 3 has been announced. The title has always been, what was the title going to be? And of course, I was going to have home in it, but the official title has been announced as Spider-Man No Way Home, right? So when you see a title like No Way Home, first of all, I mean, personally, I don't think it's the biggest news, but since it was trending so much when it was happening, I mean, when the video dropped of the actual title reveal, it did more numbers than even Justice League's trailer, the full trailer. So let's cover off that basis alone. Samir, resident Spider-Man fan, can I call you that? What did you think about this title in particular? Any insights on the title?
I think it's a nice title. I'm intrigued as No Way Home. What does that mean?
Fine. I got a better question. I gave you a bad question, Samir. Is this the best of the three titles so far?
Let me think. What was the second one called?
Far From Home.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Then I think it is. I think it is actually.
I actually like the Homecoming title most.
Yeah, Homecoming is better. I think better for Spider-Man.
I mean, I don't really know.
Let's look at the board though. Let me take this banner off quickly. So this was the final board in that shot, that small mini teaser for the title, where it shows all the different tiles they were thinking about. I mean, you got. I mean, a lot of these probably joke tiles. I don't think they're actually considering it, but No Way Home, Work From Home. That was a joke. Homemade, probably not. I would have liked things like Homebound. Like if I was choosing a title, Spider-Man Homebound would be cooler. Because if the rumors are true, that you're getting Toby and you're getting Andrew, and they're trying to find their way back to their own universes, then the idea of Homebound sounds really cool to me. But No Way Home does a similar. There's a similar point is being made.
Why are we assuming that home has to be in the title?
It has to,
because it literally is.
I would have preferred they just went their own way. Just come up with something original, new Spider-Man, something else. That's it.
It's the home.
Why does it have to be home something?
I think this is one director and one actor, and Kevin Feige. They just wanted to keep it thematically under home. I don't know when they decided that, but I don't know. Let's see what the comments are saying about this, which probably not much, but we'll see. Someone said, so true, so true with Uncle Ben, right? People are harping on Uncle Ben stuff, like Uncle Ben being ignored is different. Is it really so sacrilege to not have Peter influenced by Uncle Ben? I don't care for Holland's take too much, but that part doesn't bother me. So that's actually an alternate take from what we're used to. Right? It's who cares? He cares about Uncle Ben or not. I think because we grew up with the Toby trilogy, which Uncle Ben was not just important for the first movie, he was important for every single movie. In the second movie, he literally looks at him in the dream sequence and say, "I'm Spider-Man no more." That was one of the best sequences of Spider-Man 2. And in Spider-Man 3, it's literally just retelling Uncle Ben's death from a different perspective, right? So Uncle Ben's at the center of the first trilogy. But then if you look at
he has one of the greatest quotes of any movie ever.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna repeat it because everyone knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, it was so popular, that one, especially from the original trilogy, that they took his quote, the actor's quote, and put it into the Spider-Verse as well, which was also such an amazing thing they did. And so just seeing every other Spider-Man film doing it, it's why won't you just acknowledge it even a little bit? And I think that also plays into just the director. I feel like it's the only fear I have for No Way Home, even though everything surrounding it, all the theories, all the rumors, make it sound it's amazing. But it's part of me is all right, this is what Homecoming was. This is what Far From Home was, especially Far From Home, because that was a train wreck. I'm thinking that will it actually be able to hit all these notes with the crazy amount of stuff they're going to have in this film? And, I just hope they do. But with this director so far, I am worried about it.
I mean, he is directing. After soon as this movie ends, he's gonna be directing Fantastic Four. So he's gonna be booked and busy in terms of what the MCU is working on. But John Watts, I mean, I liked what he did with Homecoming. Like actually, Homecoming's grown on me over the years. But Far From Home, just no.
Do you want me to give my honest take
On what? On the trail? On what?
on what you're talking about on the director?
All right, what is your honest take?
I think Zian's gonna agree with me. Maybe Samir will too. I think after Far From Home, they should have fired him and called up Sam Raimi and said, "Hey, why don't you pull up?"
But the thing is, Far From Home was what, $1 billion movie? Did it $1 billion? I forgot. It must have. So I was like, and the general audience loved it.
Movie isn't. At this point,
21st. But it's gonna be something interesting. I mean, interesting that they're bringing the old cast back, if that's true. Again, rumor. It's not officially announced that Toby or Andrew come back, but it's a lot of wink from the studio. Tobey Maguire recently reactivated his Twitter account after like 12 years not being on it. So he's definitely something's in the works. And I think if Toby just posts a picture of him holding his suit again, that's gonna send people crazy. I think we're gonna forget even like Far From Home or whatever. I think you can build back all your bridges if this movie does what it's supposed to do. Like that's how I see it.
See, but that's the thing. Now they've dug themselves so far into this rabbit hole that if for some reason they don't show up, it's gonna be pretty disappointing because all this hype, all this rumors, it can't just fall flat. It has to lead to something. I mean, I'd be pretty disappointed after all this. It'd just be another it'd be Far From Home 2, basically. I'd be disappointed about that.
I mean, at the minimum, even if we don't get the Spider-Man, we're gonna get Matt Murdock as Daredevil back, right? I think that's a given. We're gonna get Daredevil in this movie. They were filming a courtroom scene for Spider-Man. I think we're gonna get Daredevil in some fashion. Why? You don't agree?
I'm with Zion on it. They gotta get the boys back, or else it's gonna.
Wasn't She-Hulk or something in it, or someone like that?
Some people are saying that if it's not going to be Daredevil, it could be She-Hulk because they're going to introduce her in her Disney Plus series, anyways, right? And she's also a lawyer in her day job, right? So if they wanted to, there's only 2 lawyers that Marvel has like on their sleeve. But I think if this really is a multiverse movie, which we don't know how WandaVision is going to end, because they said when we're going to get to this next topic, because they said the ending of WandaVision directly translates to what Spider-Man is happening, and we know WandaVision literally had Pietro from the X-Men show up, right? From the X-Men universe. So I think if that show ends in a crazy way, they can do something. And remember, you mentioned Sam Raimi, and so did Umar, but Sam Raimi is directing Doctor Strange 2, right? And Doctor Strange 2 has Elizabeth Olsen cast as Wanda in that movie. So you got Doctor Strange, you got Wanda. And there's some rumors, and this, again, take a grain of salt, that they don't want to bring back Toby in particular for more than one movie. They want to bring for more than one, I'm saying. So imagine they hire Toby not just for this, but also for Doctor Strange, and you pair him back up with Sam Raimi. I don't know. That'd be pretty crazy. That's a little bit weird. I think we're going to like best case scenario
territory.
Yeah, territory there. But Daredevil confirmed. Yeah, we're actually getting more excited than we should have. We're getting ahead of ourselves. He's not confirmed, but I think with pretty, like, there's been some reports about it. I think with like fairly okay confidence, you can say that he's gonna be in it. I think he's actually more confident than even Toby. But I gotta be sure about that. I don't know. There's so many rumors of this movie that it's starting to come together. I mean, some people, like the alternate perspective, is saying that Rodney brought up that I bet it's going to be different Spider-Man that only show up on like a TV show and Peter sees it. You know, I mean, I hope if you bring the Spider-Man together, it's not like a very quick scene. Like let them have some kind of moment, right? And some people are saying they might use it as a backdoor for a live action Miles Morales. I mean, Samir, you heard something about that?
Yeah, there were a lot of rumors with the whiteboard thing, how this outline of the title fits in the map of Puerto Rico, which is where Miles Morales is kind of from. So yeah, there are a lot of rumors about it.
Yeah, and we know from Homecoming that his uncle was in Homecoming, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Daniel Glover was playing him. Yeah. So Donald Glover. Listen, it's a long stream. I'm already getting tired. All right, so but yeah. So I mean, let's see what Rhyme something in the comments to bail me out of this one. But could Spidey show up in Doctor Strange 2, giving Raimi versus Spidey? That's what I was thinking also, that whether it's Tom Holland who shows up or Toby himself, I think that the opportunity of putting Sam Raimi with any Spider-Man will be very fun. I think, and especially apparently he's going crazy with Doctor Strange. And whatever he's going to work on, with Doctor Strange going crazy, and we already know if it has some kind of feelings from WandaVision, it could be pretty crazy. And speaking of WandaVision, I mean, Drew brought up that I really wanted to like WandaVision. I thought it's been underwhelming. So that's something interesting. We're going to jump into this topic, and I want to hear more from you, man, if you want to give your thoughts. But let's go another comment on this topic before we move on. Either the horror elements in WandaVision look like it'll flow well into Sam Raimi's Doctor Strange, because outside of the Spider-Man trilogy, Sam Raimi is most known as a horror director, right? So that's his forte. So if he's going to bring some of that into Doctor Strange, obviously people are going to be liking it, right?
The villain for Doctor Strange is horror related, right? I don't really, I kind of forget.
Who did say it was a Nightmare? I forgot who they said it was going to be.
It was something like that, but I think they could throw that element in. It'd be interesting. Yeah,
for sure. I mean, especially if there's a cameo in the end of WandaVision that leads right into it, which I think is going to happen. I think they said the last episode of WandaVision would be like an hour, and then we try and do a lot more crazy things. So whatever they try to do, I think it'll be interesting because, well, let's get into the last episode. Spoiler warning now. We're going to be talking about WandaVision episode 8, right? What are we thinking about this one? I mean, who wants to go first? I've been talking to Storm myself. Who wants to go? Go ahead, Omar.
I think my take is probably going to be the more positive take. I know that I know the show kind of it was a little slower because they went through kind of her life, or 3 stages of her life. I think that the positive thing about the show was that I did feel that they had some moments, especially with this is a spoiler, right? We're going to spoilers.
Yeah, go into all spoilers.
Yeah, like when Vision talks to her about like loss. I think that scene was I think that was a good scene. I think that a lot of people would resonate with some of that stuff if they've gone through something similar in terms of losing people that they love, which is a natural part of life. I think those scenes carried the like it put everything in kind of perspective. Everyone knows that she's grieving from Vision's loss, but in this one they kind of show it on screen very in its full form.
And that she's grieving from more than one loss. Like she's been grieving her parents, then she's grieving her brother, and then she's grieving Vision.
Yeah, she just keeps losing people. So it's like it humanizes her character. And I think one of the things that people brought up about the use of her character in the universe was that they felt that they didn't kind of dive too deep into her story, and they felt they always wanted that. And I think now we're getting it on all levels. So even I think this is a great setup also for Doctor Strange, because now you do have a kind of a feel of what she's going through from. Yeah, there's a more personal touch to her character now. So honestly, I thought it was pretty good, to be honest. For the most part, yeah. It wasn't bad. I think it was slow at some points. I'm not a fan of Agnes. I think that that character could have been a lot better, but that's
personal gripe. Yeah, I think for one, I think this was the best written episode of the series so far. So purely off script, I think it was the best. It was a little slow in pacing and directing, but I think written, like the script was just great. I mean, all around. I think honestly, I mean, I'll be honest. This show overall has made me a much bigger fan of Scarlet Witch as Wanda as a character. I mean, Wanda, I think, wasn't even in my top 10 MCU characters going into WandaVision, and now coming out, she might be top 5, even top 3 or 4 for me, and just how much they've put so much time into her psychology and into what she's going through, and like this is someone who lost her parents because of a war in her of her region in Sokovia. Then she gets tortured for millions of years. What the hell am I saying? She gets tortured for like 10 years in leading up to Age of Ultron, and then she loses obviously Quicksilver, Pietro in Age of Ultron as well, and then in Infinity War, she loses Vision, which is all she had at that point. And then she's just kind of just in an extremely dark place. So when she goes to get Vision's body and sees what they did, like they're dissecting him and for parts, basically, just for scrap metal or to build. Yeah, go ahead.
There's one last thing I want to add before you guys go. I think from the moment she has to kill Vision in Infinity War, Elizabeth Olsen's done a pretty crazy job. Like that, from that moment onwards, it's been absolutely like her performance as an actress, like she just even like the small things of changing her accent, doing small things like that, and she's done a good job. I think she's gonna do really well. I can't wait to see
Yeah, they set her up. They set her up to be like one of the main star players of Phase 4 now, you know. And or she was like a kind of a background character. She have like big moments, like when she kills Vision, or in Endgame when she kind of solo beats up Thanos. Like Thanos was literally done before he brought down the missiles in that scene. So, but now going forward, like I think anytime she just shows up on screen, on the big screen anymore, people are gonna be very happy and excited that, oh god, it's her, you know, like it's good stuff, you know. So Zan, what do you think of this episode overall? I mean, some people in the comments are saying that, you know, it's a little slow. Somebody says it's okay episode, not great, expected more, but the scene with the Vision scene was the highlight. I mean, where do you stand on this episode and heading into the last episode? Like, how do you feel about the Wanda character?
I thought it was a good, okay episode as well. I mean, it wasn't one of the best episodes. Some of the, like the beginning scene of the witch and stuff like that felt a little like CW-ish. I don't know if everybody got their vibes or not, but overall, I think just them cycling through her life was a great way to, like when we said, you get that connection, extra connection to her, and seeing all the tragedies she's been through. I think my favorite scene was the final scene for the credits, where she like lets out the scream and all her power and just goes into the first episode of the show naturally. It felt like that bridge back into it. That was the best part of the episode for me. And one thing I was confused about is that Agatha, she finally got her name Scarlet Witch, but like nobody's there to hear it. So if Agatha loses or dies, whatever happens to her, will Wanda come out and say, "Oh, I'm Scarlet Witch, everybody"? Like, how will that actually become her superhero name in the universe? I don't know how they could take it from Agatha saying the name for the first time to
Scarlet Witch isn't
becoming her name.
It's not, she's technically not a superhero, is she? She's like one of those middle.
Yeah, she falls in the middle ground. Yeah, she'll become evil sometimes. She'll become good sometimes. She's anti-hero.
I think it would be sick in Doctor Strange if she's like tearing people apart, and she's like, "Yo, I'm Scarlet Witch." That'd be cool.
Yeah, and remember, this is Scarlet Witch is a myth, and when she's a kid, when she touches the Mind Stone or Loki's like scepter. Yeah, it's when she touches the scepter, for a second you see the silhouette of the Scarlet Witch showing up, but it's literally the iconic costume of this character. So I wonder if it's some kind of time travel where she sees herself. Like if Doctor Strange like fulfills that, where like she will come to see herself actually like there for that one moment, you know, something like that. I don't know, but I think that'll be pretty cool, like, and how they can make the character work. But like Umar said, she's not necessarily a superhero. I don't think she ever will be going forward. I think she's gonna kind of be doing her own agenda. And as the X-Men get introduced, maybe she's gonna meet up with her real father, Magneto, etc. So they can do more things with the character. That'll be very interesting, especially as the X-Men come about. Because this movie, another thing that this show did is that they showed that she had her powers before the experiments on her. Because remember, there's a retcon. In Age of Ultron, they said that basically, look, you got your powers because of the Mind Stone. Well, not anymore. She always had her powers, which gives the inclination that she's a mutant, right? So that's gonna be a good thing. And let's just
I don't think she's gonna turn to a villain. It doesn't make sense, because like the one official picture they showed was of her standing with Vision and her two kids. Like, how could she be that and also suddenly become a villain in the future, unless she has to learn to give them up herself in the show, and then she'll always have that holding that pain with her.
Yeah, and then taking his time out of the W office, you know, Walt Hamada has shown up on the chat. What's up, haters? I mean, come on, man. I mean, I thought you're at the office right now. Come on, what's going on? But whatever. So we got you know, the troll in the comments. We put on the screen one time. We're not gonna keep rewarding it, but
man chose WandaVision too. You're talking about,
yeah, like, no, we're not, dude. We're talking about WandaVision. He's like putting in the comments like, "Yo, Snyder's Justice League potential. Laugh, laugh, laugh. It's already a dead horse." All right, so that's a small break from what stuff's going on. Let's get back to WandaVision. So Rhyme Slim in the comments said, I think they retconned it with Civil War. There was some info book or something that said that Mind Stone activated her powers, but the show basically retconned that. So yeah, I feel like the lead up to them merging with Fox and getting the X-Men characters back, they knew that the Wanda character has to change because she's actually not whatever the MCU said she was, you know, at that point. So it's gonna be interesting to see.
If Magneto's a father, then who are those two parents? Foster parents? Like, how does that even work out?
I don't think that's actually her. That's not going to be her biological dad. But like when Magneto shows up, Magneto will recognize her as her daughter because maybe in his universe or something like that was her daughter, and then you know, something like that. You know, like, you get what I'm saying? Or Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness. It's called Multiverse of Madness. They're gonna do some crazy stuff where they like retcon her past or something. I don't know. Umar, where do you stand on that?
I don't know. I honestly think that it's perfectly set up for a Captain America talks to her and like tells her, "Yo, like." I think like that's the only way. Like, it'd be kind of cool to see. Captain America is also a character, although he won at the end and got Peggy Carter at the end, but he's a person that kind of has a lot of loss in his story arc. So that would have been cool. At least personally, I would have liked to see.
I like the small touch that when the missile hit her house, and it's Stark Industries, like you could set the seeds of why she hates Tony Stark so much in Age of Ultron. And then they brought like, oh, why wasn't the missile exploding? She's like defective. No, she was like from as a kid unconsciously like protecting her brother, right?
Subconsciously.
What did I say?
You said unconsciously.
Well, was she like first knocked out for a second, or maybe I'm misremembering? Whatever. It's been a long stream. Tired, man. Right, so. All right, so we got 5 minutes left. Let's talk about some Pokemon Diamond and Pearl news. Umar, you can just take a seat. Take a seat for this one. Did I put the E in Pokemon wrong? Did I summon check?
I'm gonna just go on my phone.
Umar, why don't you Google search live? That is the E that I put in Pokemon. Is that accent put on wrong?
Let me check real fast.
We're gonna check this right now. We're gonna confirm. Search Pokemon and see what shows up. Take your time.
No, you did it well. You're
okay. All right. We're good. All right. Diamond and Pearl. Samir, this was your favorite Pokemon game as a kid, from my understanding. So now it's getting a remake, but there's some controversy that they wanted the remake to be more like Sword and Shield.
For a second, I have to correct Umar. I don't know what kind of Canadian Google he's on, but the accent is wrong. All right, it's the other way.
Canadian Google? What are you talking about?
Are you muted, Charles?
Here, why don't you tell me what you think about it as I fix it? Yeah, I was on the wrong side, Umar. You're not looking. All right, so I saved it. Did I do it right now? Where is it? That's the right way. Okay, so Samir, I don't know if you heard. Did you misheard that question? I said that as a kid, Diamond and Pearl was your favorite. You grew up with this game in particular. So now it's being remade, but there's controversy around it that some people wanted a more evolution to the remake where it's going to look like Sword and Shield, or even look like Let's Go, which remade Pokemon Red and Blue. So, but when you saw this style, number one, are you okay with it? And number two, is just sheer excitement for a remake just going to overtake whatever the trailer was?
I think I'm okay with it because of I grew up playing Pearl, so I think I'm okay with that. I just want to play it again. I think the other Pokemon game was more intriguing, the Arceus game, because of how it's just a different take. It's not the usual, oh, you gotta just beat all the gyms. And I think my main thing with Pokemon is that they never really changed the attack aspect of the game, which I think they could work on that a lot.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. This is going to be a 1-to-1 remake, though. So this is going to be literally exactly outside of maybe a rescore of the game to make it more orchestral. Maybe I don't see much change in that. But I personally plan on playing Diamond and not Pearl. So I don't know, Zion, which one you're going to play. I'm not even going to ask Umar. So just Zion, which one are you going to play? Diamond or Pearl?
I mean, obviously, since we were kids, we had to always get the opposite game. I got Fire Red, you got Leaf Green. I would play Pokemon Black, you Pokemon White. We also play the game, so if you're getting Diamond, then I'll probably play Pearl also, like Samir. A lot of people made jokes about that. The Pokemon Legends Arceus and Pokemon Diamond and Pearl is just copies of Zelda Link's Awakening on Switch and Breath of the Wild on Switch. They're just the copy games, but just Pokemon skin on it, basically. I think it was fine. It's just 3D versions of the 2D sprites that the game was. It looks a little cartoony and kiddish. I get that, why people have the complaint. But it's just a 3D model of the exact same game, so I don't know what there's really to complain about.
And Umar, what is your thoughts on Pokemon? In general, just what your thoughts on Pokemon, nothing else.
My thoughts on Pokemon, I don't have any thoughts about Pokemon.
All right, so your no thoughts on it.
Doesn't care about Pokemon.
All right, so
you can tell from the way I said the name. The word.
I'm gonna say Umar's the black sheep of the four Farooqi Bros. So let's let last topic. 1 minute left. We actually have 30 seconds left. Attack on Titan season 4. Big spoiler alert. We're gonna spoil the rest of the episode. So and while we're talking about Attack on Titan, Mr. Hamada is still in the comments saying after well, I'm not gonna read it, but he's on one right now. But
Walter, pull up to the podcast, man. We've been talking.
All right.
Why don't you pull up to the podcast?
That'll be a fun interview. But listen, as Attack on Titan season 4, we got a minute left. We haven't talked about stuff for like 3 episodes. But what are we thinking so far? Like, it's only, I think, maybe 4 or 5 episodes left of this first part of the season. But what are we thinking about this show? Samir, what are your general thoughts like so
I think
far?
the last few episodes were pretty slow because they were just talking episodes. They're building up to basically what the final arc will be. So I think I'm hyped for the rest of the season, but so far it's been kind of slow.
Zion, what about you? Quick thoughts.
I thought this last episode was one of the best in my opinion. I know a lot of people, it's been slow. The animation is a little weird in this episode, but I think the episodes of exposition are actually working in its favor because this is what you want to see. You want to see what's going on with the characters, what's been happening, and then just bridging everything together. I think this is a great episode, and this is probably GOAT anime status already, or it's getting there. Almost.
I think I'm okay with them cutting corners on some of the animation if they're gonna not use CGI for the Titans because I don't really like I really don't like the CGI on the Titans.
Yeah, I'm kind of. I can go either way. I can go either way on like CGI, no CGI. You know, it's all kind of the same to me. I mean, there's one question for you, Samira. It says, "Have you watched Friends?" What do you think
I
about
have
that?
watched Friends.
All right, and Umar, this is a question for you. Any episodes of 20th Television Family Guy? Do you know, Umar? No, I'll ask you.
Or don't.
All right, we actually don't know. So I don't have much going on there. I have one last question before we leave. You have something to say?
No, go ahead.
I said I had one more question before we depart, but do I even have it here? I mean, I can't find it anymore. Give me a second. We're gonna take our time with this one. When we're talking, tell us your whims while I just had
my whims.
Yeah, tell us your whims.
Well, how about the greatest soundtracks of all time? I'm gonna go with
Attack on Titan again.
Kingdom Hearts, Dearly Beloved.
All right, I'll take
Does
it.
take
You know what?
cake.
All right.
You can't. There's no comparison. How you comparing a game to an anime and really Lord of the Rings is the best. Lord of the Rings is the best film soundtrack. Kingdom Hearts, or actually Final 7 Christ Core or Kingdom Hearts now have the best video game soundtrack. And anime, I don't know actually.
All right, and then we have one question for Zion, very important, crucial.
Yeah.
When is Judy Justice on IMDb Preview? IMDb, what am I saying? I don't know, but
Dude, we only watch Judge Mathis. I don't know if that's what you're talking about.
I
like Judge Mathis, he's the guy.
I also watch Judge Mathis. I'll agree. So
Is that the old guy with the glasses?
No, is that George something else? Is it George Foreman? What was the other judge? The one the older. All right, but let me put the last question before we leave because we're going overtime. All right, this is actually the most serious question I've asked you all night, and we'll go around the room because I think it's just crucial. What is the answer to this question?
It's
the chat. We want.
Two.
If you're in the chat, we want you to answer also. All right. What do you think?
This is one is wrong. You're just wrong.
Umar, are you gonna say one?
Nah. Surprisingly, I agree with Smear. Ask me to.
All right, Zion, what do you think about this?
Yeah, I think two also. One is like the equivalent of like you tie the tie around your head or something, you know.
Yeah. It's more that it's all his neck, you know what I'm saying? So like I think no one ties the tie at the top of the neck. You top at the bottom of the neck. So by default, the second one is actually the right choice. So that's just what I'm saying. You know? And the comments mostly agree. I mean, number 2 does seem like the right one. So I think we've answered a question more important than anything else we've talked about today. And I think that's a good point to end the show at. So if you guys actually let me see a lot. We have more number 2s. You know, a lot of people are saying what's going on too. You know, so
yo, shout out Robotic Uti.
Yeah, same shout out. All right, so what was I going to say? All right, we're going to do our outro. So if you guys are new to the channel, feel free to subscribe, and you can also leave a like if you like seeing the stream. It's definitely going to support us. Keep doing streams in the future. If you guys, what do I say? If you guys want to tune into all of our podcasts right as we drop it, just put on notifications on our channel. We're usually going to post sometimes twice a week. Most of the time you can see us Sunday night at the Built Different stream at 8 p.m. Eastern time for about an hour. So if you want to chill with us for that 1 hour, you know how it is. We keep it easy here. And we're gonna have some fun next week as well as we get closer to new releases. So from myself, from Zayan, from Umar, and from Samir, we're the Farooqi Brothers, and we'll see you next time. Peace out.